Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Hagen Botham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, Andrew Bartolotta.
Welcome to the City Current Show, where we spotlight individuals and organizations powering the good in our community and around the globe. I'm your host, Andrew Bartolotta, and today we're spotlighting Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee, an organization that's been igniting the power and promise of youth for 56 years through one-to-one professionally supported mentoring. Joining us is someone who knows the impact from both sides of the table, Sarah Moseley, alumni Little and youth board member with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Middle Tennessee. From community-based matches and site-based programs, they have been serving over 900 youth this last year, and they're just getting started. So we'll dig into how mentoring shapes life trajectories, what the research shares about long-term outcomes, and how each of us, including you and your company, can help make more young people achieve their full potential. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. I'm so excited to be here today.
Of course. Okay, so take us back. What brought you first to Big Brothers, Big Sisters? What did life look like before your match, and what shifted after?
Absolutely. So I entered into the program with the e-mentoring program, which starts a little bit later in life in those teenage years. And I was involved in a classroom setting where we got enrolled in e-mentoring. And basically beforehand, like I live in a two-parent household. I have a pretty great support system. But if you know anything about a teenager or parenting one, there was nothing my parents could do or say that I thought was right at the time. So definitely having my big Becky as just an additional adult to help guide me down the right path during that junior to senior year of high school was instrumental. She helped me pick college, apply for scholarships, kind of write out my pro-cons list for kind of life as a whole during those planning years. And I think without her, I would be a lot more uncertain and not where I wanted to be. Like, as of today, I'm about 6 or 7 years post high school, and I'm in the job I decided I wanted when we chatted. And without her, I don't think that would be possible. That is really unheard of today for especially youth around my age.
Absolutely. Well said. And I think that we cannot undermine the importance of mentoring, one-on-one mentoring, whether professionally through Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or just throughout the community and everyday life. One of my friends, their sort of life mission is to always be mentoring someone, but then always be mentored as well. Like this long through line of like, you're in the middle. Who do you look up to be mentored by, and who are you mentoring? And so the work that Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee is doing is so paramount to just the success of youth and adults alike across Middle Tennessee. Your mission is to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships that really ignite the power and promise of youth. In practical terms, what does professionally supported look like week to week for a big and a little?
Absolutely. That changes based on program, but I will give you an instance from what I know best, and then also the program that I'm a big in. So I kind of have two perspectives on that. I was in e-mentoring, so it was a lot more virtual. And then we would meet in person at my school, basically 3 to 4 times an academic year. It would be like a fun pizza party thing where you got to see your big and talk about things. We were already navigating things virtually, but then to see each other in person and have that time to catch up and, a little gossip. I was in high school, like, can't help it. So that's kind of what e-mentoring looked like. For community-based bigs, you're basically meeting 2 to 4 times a month. So I go and pick up my little from her house, and then we basically do an activity, and then I drop her back off. Now, right now we're doing 2 times a month because she is in the swing of lots of school. So as you can imagine, she's a busy girl as well. But usually in the summer, we'll up that to more frequently because I know it can be a little hazy in the summer, a little boring at times. So I try to give more activities and times when I know that she has more downtime. But those are just 2 different styles of commitment. Now, the professionally supported piece is that we have a match support specialist. In both situations, we had one. They're checking in, making sure, you have ideas for your activities, or if there's an issue, like never any big issues, but let's say my little talks to me about something and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to deal with that. She brought up, for example, this is not particular to me. I'm just a random example. Like if she were to be like, hey, so I'm having a little bit of difficulty navigating this situation at school. Like there was a girl that was mean to me. If I don't feel like that's in my depth to handle on my own, I can grab my match support specialist. In the moment, I'd probably say something like, oh, that's terrible. Like, talk to me about it. Let's talk about it, but not give many of my own opinions and thoughts. And then I would go to my match support specialist and be like, hey, I don't know what to do here. They have guidelines, support, resources, all the things that make it to where you're not really ever in a dead end situation or where like you feel like you have to be, someone's superhero savior. Like I'm not going to go up in her school and, pick on some other little girl. I'm a grown adult. I can't do that. But what I can do is find ways to, help support her emotionally or get those resources to see what the next best step is. That's sometimes I think what people are a little afraid of as far as mentorship. Like mentorship is not a new concept. I'm pretty sure it's been around since the dawn of man in various forms. But what's hard about it now is, am I doing it the right way? And by having that professional support from the organization, it creates kind of like a bubble or a barrier that helps you feel confident and secure in the way you're providing mentorship. Because there is no like guidebook or skill set that is necessary. But sometimes, I mean, kids say the craziest things, like we know this to be true. And they will tell you all of the business 100% of the time, which I personally love, but sometimes I do feel out of my depth, and that's where the professional support comes into place. I think the whole thing about the organization is, like I said, mentoring isn't new. We just don't, as a society and community, know how to engage in that mentorship in a way that is like feels appropriate or feels like overall worthwhile. But Big Brothers Big Sisters closes that gap by giving you the space, the opportunity, and the connection. Like they tell you, this child and their parents have signed them up to ask for a mentor, and this adult has signified that they want to be a mentor. It creates that connection piece. So you're not having to go out and find somebody to mentor. It's literally, we know you want a mentor, we know you need a mentor, we're going to put you guys together. And yeah, that's kind of like where the professional piece comes in.
Yeah. I think so many feel like, oh, well, I don't know what to say, so I can't be a mentor, and just immediately write it off, when being a listener and having a space for them to just share what they're going through and how you can be a sounding board for them is powerful in itself. And I love that you have support specialists for those instances where you may need to dig a little deeper, or have someone that's formally trained in some resources or guidance based on whatever they're going through. So it's just such a great organization to be a part of, as we can see with just how confident you are and the skill sets that you have built because of it. I mean, we should get more mentors today because of it. So what would you say are maybe the top 2 or 3 outcomes you track that tell you a match is changing a youth person's trajectory? Is it attendance, grades, social emotional skills? Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So from my perspective, we have 3 buckets. There's like behavioral, which falls into like drug usage, alcohol usage, like we track that long term, or not necessarily, like we get surveys basically once a month, and we kind of have the youth answer these questions. The second one is financial. So this one's like really long term. This one is more of like, Harvard did a study with the US Department of Treasury data that kind of showed us what earnings look like for littles long term. So that was a study over 30 years. So we have like more short term and more long term. And then the next step is just like school outcomes in general. So we track, yes, truancy, as well as just like whether they're skipping a full day of school or just classes, as well as like just post-secondary opportunities. So some big highlights to put that into perspective. Financially, littles tend to earn 15% more over their lifetime. And a lot of the data shows that their career salary lines up more with their mentor than their actual familial unit, which says a lot about the social capital that they're being introduced to through their mentor, because we know that's kind of what gears up that salary. Great data. The second one is that typically littles having a mentor closes 2/3 of the economic gap. So for example, my mentor was in marketing. She did business lady things. And then my parents, my dad, he works for the government, basically, like he does fleet services. And my mom, she works in like a healthcare billing thing. I have no idea about the whole ins and outs of their jobs. I'm sorry, that's terrible, but it's true. But I didn't realize kind of when I was younger that marketing would be an option. That's not what I knew. But by knowing Becky, which she does marketing, which I didn't know early on, but I learned later, I kind of realized that my career does closely mirror hers. Not exactly the same, but she showed me a new career that was an option. The second thing, as far as like truancy and like school outcomes, we know that if you're a little, you're 52% less likely to be truant. A lot of that has to do with you never know when your mentor's going to pop by for a pizza party. I mean, they would tell us a little bit in advance, but I wanted to go to school and talk to my mentor and eat my pizza, especially for site-based program kids. Like your mentor is a little bit more sporadic as far as when they show up, like the adults know, but in elementary school, I doubt you have your full schedule mapped out on the, whiteboard at the beginning of the week. So kids are more likely to go to see their mentor and all that good jazz. And then we also know that littles are 20% more likely to enroll in college. So basically, whether or not they complete is still to be determined. They're trying to navigate those numbers currently and formulate that data. But we know that if you're a little, you're more likely to apply, get in, and be able to financially figure out at least the first semester and enroll. We also know that socially, behaviorally, littles are 46% less likely to begin using illegal substances, which in this world is really pivotal. I know that a lot of that has to do with understanding full consequences. And I also know that a lot of that has to do with models of different behavior. I am lucky to say that from my personal experience, my parents gave me a decent example of behavior. I would even say great. I'm gonna give them their kudos. Yeah. But I will say that not everybody's situation is the same. And by having other adults in your life that show you that different things are possible, it is always likely to change an outcome based on seeing something that you maybe don't see otherwise. So those are just some of the like statistics and categories. There's so much more. You can visit any of our websites, find the impact reports. There's just data upon data upon data, but those are the ones that always stand out the most to me for some reason.
Yeah, I think those are great statistics that you've chosen. And like you were saying, you can't be what you can't see. And so having that modeled behavior and then seeing through the Harvard study how it really resonates economically with the work that Big Brothers Big Sisters is doing, not only in Middle Tennessee, but the other chapters throughout the country, is so pivotal. And you're really taking generational poverty for many of these students and just shaking it up and saying, this is where we are going to show you what's possible. And for many, families are trying as hard as they can. And in this world, in this time, they may be working several jobs. And so for the parents themselves, and so for the children, like they need those positive influences when the parents can't physically be there with them. As a father, I note that very wholeheartedly when my children are not with my wife and I, because you want them to be around people that push them positively and encourage them and show them what's possible. And so for these mentorship opportunities, it truly is changing the trajectory of their lives. Like you said, like with your mom in the medical field and your dad in fleet services, like marketing just isn't there automatically, right? And so having that, like Becky, to show not only what's possible, but what she enjoys about it, and let you shadow her and be part of that. And now here you are. That's just another reason why Big Brothers Big Sisters in Middle Tennessee is so important. You've mentioned a lot of the different programs, like, whether it's in the classroom or it's like sports buddies or community-based, site-based, e-mentoring. Tease us with a little bit about, for those that say, I want to get involved, I'm not sure at which level or which program. Give us just a rundown of some of the programs that you offer so people can see just what's possible when you mentor a child or youth.
Absolutely. I'll start off by saying, if you want to know the nitty-gritty details, we have a wonderful info session. If you go to our website, they'll send you the link immediately. It's like, I watched it on YouTube. I don't know if that's how everybody else watches it, but I know I watched it on YouTube. But I will give you the general rundown. Mine will never be as good as the lovely info session that Big Brothers Big Sisters has put together. That's just my disclaimer. But I will start with our OG. That's the community-based. That's like what I said previously, 2 to 4 times a month, an activity or something. Honestly, a good bit of the time we're going out to dinner, or like, you know, children love to eat and they will eat you out of house and home. So I'm like, yeah, let's go grab a bite to eat. McDonald's is a fan favorite. I remember that being me. I'm gonna kind of old for that, but it's so much love. Site-based is actually in the school. Usually it's some of our younger kiddos, like elementary or middle school, but it does vary. And basically it's just, you'll pop in, you'll hang out for like an hour. Some people are doing puzzles or throwing the football outside at recess. But that journey just looks a little bit different depending on the child and the school. The next one that I'll highlight is Sports Buddies. They meet, or well, there's really activities twice a month on Saturdays. The activities are pre-planned. So it's really, you show up, you hang out with your little, and it's like, I would say that's one of the like best programs for if you feel like you want to get started, like you might want to do community-based, but you want to figure out, you know, how this fits into your life and your schedule, because it's literally, the activities are planned by the agency. You meet up, but it is more sports inclined. So that's why I didn't do it, because y'all would hate to see me run. But I heard it's so much fun. We have e-mentoring, which is what I am so fortunate to be an alumni little of. Like I said, in the classroom, it's virtual, but you do meet 3 or 4 times an academic year. You kind of get the summer off, which is nice also. But I would say that's one of our lowest commitments. And I will say 90% of the mentors I've recruited go to e-mentoring, because it's just so easy to tell you, or like to tell people how amazing it is. And then I'm also the living embodiment of what can come out of it. So it's like so much fun to talk about. We heard from some of our alumni littles that college is where it starts to actually get hard, and they would really love a mentor there. So the CAP program is the College Advancement Program, and it's kind of for freshmen and sophomore first-gen students currently. We hope to expand, but as of right now, we have to keep some parameters while we kick it off. And basically, it's just check-ins with the student from an adult mentor, and it's just so much guidance. Like, I was a first-gen student. I really, like, if this program had been around at the time I was a first-gen student, I would have snatched that up so quick, just because it is, I know from firsthand experience, those first couple of years of getting like set into your routine, understanding classes and figuring out extracurriculars and everything that's going on, it is so difficult. So that's where the CAP program is hoping to kind of bridge that gap in particular. So that's for, basically we're considering it 18 to 25, because a first-gen college freshman does age, like the age can vary, and that's completely understandable. So that's kind of the CAP program. We do have like micro mentoring opportunities where it's like just a one-off, you can try out mentoring for the first time. That's not as heavily advertised on the website or anything like that. That's more, once you get connected with us, we'd love to send you some information about those. Those are more few and far between and not as consistent, but we still do offer those opportunities, specifically because there's just so many wonderful organizations in the community that are looking to add more mentorship into their programming, and we like to help try to support that need when we can. And then the last one I'll highlight, high school bigs. Unfortunately, you can't volunteer for that. That is for high schoolers to volunteer for. It's offered by school, and they go into elementary schools and help read to kids and inspire that mentorship journey early on. I cannot say enough. I know quite a few of the high school bigs, and I serve next to one on the National Youth Council, and genuinely, they're some of the best people. Like, to have a mentorship heart so young and to get involved like that early on, it's very inspiring. In fact, it's the reason why I took the plunge to become a big myself, because just hearing them talk about getting to be bigs was just, it fulfilled me so much to hear them say it. So I couldn't imagine what I would get out of doing it myself. So that's a general overview of like every last thing we offer. I really do implore anybody who's really interested to go to the website and get the real details, because I gave you my best synopsis, but it's still not the best one out there.
Well, it's just amazing to see all the different opportunities to serve and in different capacities, different age levels, demographics, commitment levels. For our corporate partners listening that can supply volunteers, funding, visibility, how can a company get involved to support Big Brothers Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee?
I'm so glad you asked. You can definitely get in touch through the website as well. I will say the girl to ask for is Veronica Chambers. We actually do quite a few events throughout the year that you can sponsor. There are also plenty of opportunities to just pledge your money for no event at all if you just are feeling in a giving mood. And then furthermore, as far as what you can do with your employees, please schedule an info session with us. We have a wonderful recruitment team who will come out to your location wherever you are and set up a hour or so to talk about the program and educate your employees on what they can do to get involved. There are just, I mean, if you're also wanting to brainstorm a way to get involved, contact us. Like we're willing to work with what you guys are willing to offer as well. And we also just love to come up with new initiatives when the partnership gets going. It's always a good feeling. And we do that with a few people here and there as well. So yeah, definitely contact us. I will also go ahead and give you the email to the head lady in charge to plug in the show notes if you'd like, just because if I spell it all out, I might misspell it if I'm being honest.
Yes, no problem at all. Okay, so as we continue to wrap up, what puts a smile on your face when you look at the work that you and your team are able to do for both from child to college age students across Middle Tennessee?
There's this phenomena that when you're at a wedding and you see the bride walk down the aisle, you look at the groom because that's the part that's like stirring. I feel that this is a very odd analogy. Bear with me.
Oh,
When
yes.
watching the mentorship journey, the mentee is obviously the forefront focus. Like that is the most important thing. But to watch the mentor is everything because you think that the mentee is the only one getting something out of that relationship. But when you turn around and look at the mentor, they're growing, they're thriving, they glow as well. It's just so moving to see the way that the impact is not just on the mentee, it's on the community as a whole. Because by you investing in a young person, they're going to invest 2, 3, 4-fold in the community around them. And that legacy, that ripple effect, it's everything to me. I look around and I see how it works in my former classmates, in myself, in my community, and it just makes me feel like so glowy. I talk about that all the time. My life philosophy is chasing the glow. Because I've gotten past the always say yes. Now my schedule's a little too full to always say yes. So now we're chasing the glow. If it makes me glow, feel glow, look glow, that's what I'm chasing. And specifically seeing the impact, it lights me up from the inside. And then I see everybody else lighting up too. It feels like the little electrical map where they show like how the light usage is in America. Like that's how it feels to me, and I love it so much.
Well, I just want to say that I have interviewed hundreds, if not close to 1,000 by the past 5 years I've been involved in the City Current show. Not on the producer side, but hosting. And you have got to be one of my favorite guests because it's so great to see a nonprofit organization not only thrive, but then have a product of their organization within the organization. How many times can I say the word organization? But truly like be able to exemplify just the resources that you all are able to provide and the impact. And then to see you thriving and be a glow for so many other people, I think that's what this is all about. Like at the heart of it, it is just making people feel included, wanted, deserving of all of their hopes and dreams to come into the light, and having what at first becomes a stranger to a mentor to what feels like a family member to then say, I believe in you, I love you, I support you, and I want you to thrive. I mean, that's what we're all about. And that's just that Nashville, Middle Tennessee hospitality as well. So I just love the work that you're able to do with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee. So wrapping up, give us where people can go, the website information, where can we follow you on social media to learn more so we can get involved and make an impact.
Absolutely. First, I want to say thank you. That was so
course.
sweet. I've also really enjoyed this. But to find us, you can go to mentorakid.org. That's where you can find generally all the resources as far as the organization is concerned for Middle Tennessee specifically. Mentor a Kid is also our Instagram. You can go over there. I'm on there all the time, so you can see my face again. And then for LinkedIn or Facebook, we do have Big Brothers Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee as well. And those are the top places if you want to chat, get involved, have questions. Those are the top places to go. And then if you're interested in attending the big breakfast, find somebody in the community. We have table captains everywhere. If you strike up, you can also email if you want to sit at my table. Just email me. I got you. But yeah, the Big Breakfast is a great place to also get started in your journey. We basically just share highlights from the year. It's an annual fundraiser, but it is one of the best places. What's crazy about the Big Breakfast is an annual fundraiser. Yes, we love to raise money. Great job. But what we get a lot of is people who are interested in becoming bigs because they see the impact on stage and they can't resist it anymore. So I highly recommend that is another additional way to get in touch and begin your journey with us.
Awesome. Well, Sarah Moseley, thank you so much again for the work that you're doing and the ways that you are helping adults mentor children, youth, and even adults alike as they go into their college journey. Thank you so much for the work that Big Brothers Big Sisters in Middle Tennessee is doing to power the good, both in Middle Tennessee and around the region.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. This was so much fun.